Hey, it's Megan back to haunt your dreams. This week we are supporting Feed Louisville. That's feedlouisville.org. What do they do, you might ask? They try to keep food out of landfills and get it into the bellies of hungry Louisvillians. Essentially what they do is they try to rescue food from going to waste and then make food out of it to give to people in need. So how can you contribute? This month I wanted to choose something where you didn't have to donate money, but if you do want to donate money, you can sponsor a meal for $5. The link for that will be in the description on Spotify and YouTube. But if you don't want to donate money, you can also volunteer to help cook and package food if cooking is your jam, and you can report and rescue food. So they have a form you can fill out if you work at like a restaurant or something and you know that food is going to waste, where you can report the food waste and they can come get it from you. So the website for that is feedlouisville.org, and as always, there are still resources for Palestine in both descriptions. Hope you all enjoyed the episode this week. Life is a highway. All
Great song. Hey pals, buds, and lovelies, welcome back to Moaning and Musing with and Hannah.
Almost knocked over all of our technical equipment.
That would have been scary and horrifying.
We would have just picked it back up.
Yeah, I don't think it would have unplugged or anything, actually. You've done that before, so...
all right, yeah. We got it out of our system. What have you been mooning and musing about?
What have I been mooning and musing about? As of today, so much. You had my head going crazy when I got over here to record.
I've been mooning and musing like a motherfucker.
Big fucking time. Before that, though, pretty much nothing. So
I'm the one that's been mooning and musing recently.
You kickstarted my brain, yeah.
All right, shall I get into it?
So what have you been mooning and musing about, Megan?
Right. I have a checklist that I wrote down. First things first, I watched the first two, and by the first two, I do not mean the ones that were made in the 80s. I mean the ones from 2011 and 2014, Planet of the Apes.
2011, 2014, I think 2017. They've been releasing them like
this year,
3 years apart, right? Every time.
Yeah, it probably takes a long time to CGI them apes.
There's a lot of them. Like, there's
that first one, too, you could tell was made in 2011. Like, it wasn't bad.
2011 is actually a really long time ago now.
Yeah, over 10 years.
Yeah.
How old were we in 2011?
Like 13.
That's crazy. We were teenagers? Yeah. What year did you start high school?
2012.
We're old now. Ish.
Old. We're no longer those type of children. Like, high schoolers is a different type of children.
It is. Real quick, okay, never mind. I'm going to talk about this.
Well, I was about to go so bad.
I was about to talk about my first day of high school, but we don't need to. But just know it was
exciting.
Bad. Do you want me to talk about it?
I also had, like, just a weird, like, awful first day in a different way, I'm sure.
Let's just get into that
just really quick. Just because I want to know. I don't know. I want to know.
Have I never told you about my first day of high school?
No.
Oh my god, it was awful.
This is exciting.
Okay,
we didn't know each other like this. And also, in school, Megan was a year behind me. So I didn't even, like, we were not in the same grade. So
I lived in Illinois. I've talked about this. I lived in Illinois kindergarten through 8th grade. So I started high school in Fern Creek I had just moved here over the summer. So I didn't have any friends. I didn't know anybody. So I was already nervous about that. That year at my school, like halfway through my school experience, we switched from having uniforms. But
yeah, that was
for
nice.
A while, we had to wear like khakis and
with
polos.
a belt tucked in. You did have to tuck that shit in.
And I got there. And I had my little khakis and my little stupid-ass polo, and then I got there, and, like, everyone was kind of, like, thwarting the rules a little bit, and I was like, oh.
So I'm a dork. Lax. Yeah. Dude, just a little, like, how serious it was when I started is, like, you freshmen had to wear a lanyard, and a bright orange lanyard around their neck.
Damn, I actually think they went back to having to wear an ID because of the shooting stuff.
Well, that makes more sense. I'm talking about it had to be this bright orange lanyard you got, like, and you were, like, called out. Like, everybody just knew you were a fucking freshman. And I hated that. It just said...
It was only the freshmen?
It just said the high school name and, like, had the orange, bright orange. And it's like, yeah, it's because it's a lanyard you got. And, like, I am a rule follower at the end of the day. So
yeah, that stuff stresses me out.
Yeah.
That stuff stresses me out bad. Like, But, so I go into school. I didn't have a lanyard. I guess they got rid of that, like, the next year.
Because it was stupid.
It is stupid. So I had on khakis, and that's relevant to the story. Because they were, like, pale. Yeah, you remember now?
Oh.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't. Everybody should know where this is going.
In my family, we have absurdly heavy periods, okay? Like, everyone says, like, oh, my period's really heavy. When I say it's like I peed my pants every time I, like, cough or something, it's so much blood, okay? So, I started that day, my first day of high school, bled through my pants, and when I say bled through my pants, I mean, like, bled through my pants, and didn't know anybody to go to, was nervous to even go to a teacher and ask for help, because I was just, like, so on edge the whole day, and then obviously that made it worse. So I text my mom on the school bus, and I was like, can you come pick me up from the bus stop, because I desperately don't want to walk home. And she picked me up on foot, so I still had to walk home, and I was like, she was trying to be nice, but, like, I should have been more clear, but I had to walk home still. I got in the shower in my clothes. That's the only time I've ever done that in my life. I stepped in the shower in my entire outfit and just stood in it and cried.
What's an event?
It was awful.
Oh my goodness.
And at the time I was living with my grandma too, so I was like in a house full of people. Like, I didn't even have like my own space because my parents were going through like it was just a rough start, man. It was so bad. What happened on your first day of
fucking
high school?
my. What truly got me was when you said you got in the shower with all your clothes on. I was like, oh, you were
so
not having a good time. Yeah.
The way
Well,
the
that
blood
says a
came off
lot.
me too. Like, I watched it go
The way
down the
the
drain.
blood came off you. Going through battle.
You wore that day.
That's what I'm saying. You went to battle,
It
man.
was so bad, but I did end up really enjoying high school. Like, I had a really good high school experience. It was just it was a terrible start.
Rough start.
Yeah.
Yeah. Been there. Yeah, rough start.
Do you want to talk about your first day of high school?
Like it's nothing. Like that story is just like nothing compared to yours. It's just like pretty average, I guess.
It just sucked.
Yeah, and I came from like such a different school, so it was just weird rules, weird vibes. Didn't know like anybody because I went to a school nobody else from my old school went to. So
Yeah.
I was alone. Yes, I was also alone in a different way.
Well, for me too, part of so I don't know if this might have been the same for you because you were in a different like subculture of Louisville than where we went to high school.
Yeah.
But the language and the lingo they were using, I truly did not understand or comprehend. It was crazy. Like, I remember I heard thought, like someone called someone a thought, and I was like, what are we talking about, dude?
The stuff that I learned going to the school that I went to, there's no other education like it.
Yeah, it was
You know what I mean?
immediate culture shock,
Yeah.
immediate cultural education. I'm so glad I went to school where I went to school,
So
though.
am I. Yeah.
It was
I
awesome.
needed that. Like, my brain and body needed to experience that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very, like, so I grew up in, like, an all-white community. Like, that makes it sound like we were segregated.
Like, purposefully. It
But
seems
there
like
were not a lot of, like, people of color at my school at all through, like, middle school. And then, like, the school I went to in Louisville had, like, a very rich diversity with, like, we had, like, a lot of people from Nepal, a lot of Black people, a lot of Hispanic people. And I had never been around that before. So that was a culture shock. And I'm really glad I got that culture shock.
As am I.
Not that I was, like, racist, but, like, being around people like that as friends is just so different.
You also have the, like, it's also about conviction, man. You can get sucked in there. You can get stuck. You can get stuck over there.
Like, in your little bubble of whiteness.
Yeah, you really can, which I'm also glad I went to my high school. Like, because that school that I went to was, like, predominantly white.
Yeah.
I don't, like, always.
Also, you were very much involved in, like, the Catholic culture, which that's like that's a bubble
It's
that's
a different
different even than a white bubble.
Yeah.
Anyway, point is, pop your bubbles, man. Pop your bubbles. Anyway,
I
Planet
enjoy
of the
popping
Apes.
bubbles.
Me
Yeah.
too.
What bubbles were they popping in Planet of the Apes?
So many bubbles were popped. Okay, so first movie
2011.
was Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That's one that has Dave Franco in it. That movie.
James.
Is it James?
James. It's the older one.
That's crazy because Dave to me sounds like a more prominent name now.
Oh, I love Dave.
Didn't
love his
James
wife.
Franco have like a controversy?
He's got a lot of weird, I think, things.
I think he also wrote that weird book about Lana Del Rey.
Well, didn't he
I
have
think
like
that
a
was
weird,
him.
like he's got a tattoo of like, it's just like he's a
Weird guy.
weird individual, and he just happens to be an actor who's got a lot of
Good
a
acting
big
roles.
platform. You know,
I
and
really
it's
liked him in Pineapple Express.
Well, yeah,
That's a great movie.
that was pretty good.
There's this scene in
That-
Pineapple Express.
Are you
I'm just
talking
getting
about the
so off
stairs?
track. Where Seth Rogen is going up the stairs, and the way he goes up the stairs
The
cracked
stairs,
me
it
up.
also looks like the stairs are not even like full steps. They look like
The
those
steps
little
look
half
so
steps. So they looked like it was so like short little.
I had to pause the movie because I could not see straight. I was laughing so hard. Anyway, Planet of the Apes. So the first movie is like the origin of like how everything went down. Yeah, obviously the rise. And they have like the serum or like the thing
how
that's supposed to cure Alzheimer's.
Began, why they...
Yeah. And they had given it to Caesar's mom, and then she gave birth to her baby.
Bright Eyes?
Yeah, Bright Eyes. She had like the big green eyes, and like they end up killing her. And so Caesar comes out really smart and gets kind of raised as a person by
like
James
obviously
Franco.
It starts a little bit like a pet, but this pet can do
he was also
so many things.
Loved Caesar, but was researching him and like
teaching him
everything.
Certain things. Yeah. Yes, it was an interesting dynamic in relationship.
Well, it makes you think, because on one hand you feel sympathy for James Franco's character, and like he works in a lab, he's trying to cure Alzheimer's, which is what that drug is originally,
which is like amazing to do.
Yeah. And his dad has Alzheimer's, and you feel bad for him, but on the other hand you're like, we're working for this insane company,
this horrible company,
these super unethical business practices and like unethical handling of animals. It's just like, it's sickening, and it makes you kind of think about that. Like, it's just very thought-provoking, because you do have like, they don't want to do human trials, they want to use animals, but like animals can't consent, and especially chimpanzees are so close to us
that you know that they are feeling
everything, but that also makes them the best test subjects. But why do we value ourselves over them
so much more over them? Yeah.
And then it's like, how do you do ethical testing? And they can't
speak up and tell you, no, they cannot consent to that. So it's like, we just take it upon ourselves to do it anyway. Ugh.
And like, they die, they get hurt, they don't have good lives.
The first one is a rough start.
Yes.
Because it shows you what's going on.
By the end, you see Caesar getting sentient of all this stuff going on, and he kind of revolts. And it's like, no.
I shit my pants. Caesar, come
Draco
home.
Malfoy about shit his pants. Draco Malfoy is in the movie. Tom Felton.
Tom Felton, yeah.
And he's an evil character. I think he got typecasted a little bit.
Yeah.
But it made me think, like, what is it? What is an alternative to that? Like, there were so many thought-provoking things in this movie, but, like, how should we research
go about
drugs?
That? Yeah.
And, like, even if you took human test subjects that volunteered, is there an ethical way to do that?
Yeah.
Because at that point, how desperate are they for money?
Up, right? Yeah.
So there's that part, and it's, like, is there any ethical way to do it? I don't know. Like, and then it had me thinking of how we know everything we know about women's health is from slaves.
Because of the fucked up ways.
Yeah.
That we figured it out.
The father of gynecology thought that black women couldn't feel pain.
Didn't feel pain. And
would just do experiments on them. No anesthesia, no nothing. A person
of science, and like all, and that you think like it's the...
Yeah, no level of consent. Everything we know about like the uterus has to do with black women as slaves. So that's sickening. And it kind of made me think of that. It made me think of human evolution in a way that, like, of course this was going to happen at some point, because the point of the movies is obviously to, like, the apes are revolting, and it's like, of course they are. And then you have the character Koba, who is
that makes
pissed.
Sense why he is so extreme and is on that radical side of it almost, because he was
horribly mistreated, and
disgustingly
aware of the mistreatment too, because they're smart. And Koba turns out being like the protagonist. Is that the word? Or antagonist?
No, antagonist.
The antagonist of the next movie.
Caesar would be protagonist in that against him type vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that second one was really interesting. Yeah, it got very nuanced, very fast. Yeah. Because it was like, because it shows that Caesar was thinking very much so like, still a little black and white, because he was so sure that the apes and how they were, like, it was like, that was the way, that was the safe way, the smart way. The humans are too far gone and things like that. And it's like, turns out, like, when you have Koba come up, who is the antagonist in that, and shows the opposite side. Yeah, that the apes are also could fall victim to that.
Yeah, and that is very much like, it made me think of American politics a lot. So I'll give the layout of the second movie. So there's a pandemic, which I think is funny because we did go through a pandemic, but it's caused by an updated version of the Alzheimer's drug that made the apes as smart as they are, which of course they were smart anyways. But it made them like able to talk and communicate differently. It kind of just sped up, I think, their evolution, but it also created a plague for humans.
Yeah, dude.
That took a lot of people out.
Awfully quickly, yeah, and it was a lot of people.
Yeah,
died.
so
yeah.
By the second movie, you have the collapse of human civilization, and they're trying to rebuild. Like, the people who were immune to the virus are trying to rebuild, and they find Caesar, who has built, like, a community, and they're scared of the humans, obviously, because they're like, humans bad, humans experiment on us, humans hurt us. And they find them, and Caesar goes to, like, the human village, and is like, leave us alone, and we'll leave you alone, and we can coexist, but separately.
Yeah.
And,
because they had come in and discovered that they were out there in the woods.
Yeah. But the humans need to go in the ape space to get power back because they're living near, like,
There's
a dam.
Yeah. Over there, yeah.
And Koba is like, no, we need to take them out right now.
He's like, dude, bad news should always just cut it off right away.
Yeah. And then Caesar's being a little too trusting.
Ask questions, curious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Open-minded. Yes.
And of course there are humans worth trusting, but then the humans are also wary because they're like, we need to take them out.
Exactly.
And it's
there's always somebody to be like, well, let's get them first before the other one gets us.
Yeah.
There's always going to be somebody like that.
Which made me think so much of, like, so many things, like human politics, like anything else that's politics.
but like, we're talking about not human politics right now, so that makes sense.
So it had me thinking about that. It had me thinking about, like, if humans do wipe out the world, something is gonna replace us.
Yeah,
like,
bound to.
Eventually, because we came from fish.
It just keeps going on.
Yeah.
It's just gonna keep going, and it's just gonna be in a different form.
It made me think we're probably gonna be bugs.
Yeah, Megan's really been set on the bugs, which makes sense. You know, I get why you're getting there. Oh, I'm so excited.
You guys might get a glimpse of the belly beans.
Come on, get over here.
I was thinking it would be cockroaches, because cockroaches can survive anything, and eventually they would evolve to, like, communicate with each other, and it's just going to be like, they'll do it so differently than we have, but,
they
like,
truly
it's
will.
Hubris of us to think that the humankind and, like, primates are the only thing that would evolve to the point that we're at.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah. And then it made me think about queer people. I was telling Hannah this, like, in the state of evolution, I don't know what the purpose of queer people would be, which to me is actually proof that there is a higher power.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because queer love is just for the sake of love a lot of the time. It's not to it's not
love,
a
community,
biological need to reproduce. It's just, I love this person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying that, like, straight love is always just driven by the need to reproduce, but it's evidence to me of something that, like, is bigger than just a need to survive.
Yeah.
So that's crazy to me too.
Wow.
And the cockroaches are gonna run everything. they're gonna be big. Anyway,
I told Megan about this earlier. You know, there's a Kim Possible episode, where the cockroaches got big, man. So just, like, watch out.
So someone else was thinking the same thing that I'm thinking. It would be cockroaches. But we came from fish. So maybe... It's weird, isn't it? And it makes me think of aliens, too. It's like, what would they look like? Because you know that evolution would be so different for them, because it would have to be different everywhere.
Yeah.
So if there are, like, extraterrestrials, what do they look like? Do they even need to breathe? Do they even eat? What do they, like, maybe they synthesize in the sun? You know what I mean? Like, it could just be so different. Isn't it so freaky to think about? Anyway, my mind has been opened. Thank you, Planet of Apes. Do you want me to go down my list some more?
Yeah, sorry. I'm like, I got stuck a little bit on the fish thing, too, because then I started thinking about, like, mermaids.
Oh, my God. Wouldn't that have been so cool?
That's what I was like. I was like, we just took a different turn there, didn't we? Like, it was coming from fish, and we decided we didn't want to. We didn't want to keep the tail. We didn't want to keep the tail.
That little newt-looking thing. I don't know if y'all know, like, what evolution looks like, but y'all should look into that. Like, where we started was, like, this little salamander newt-looking thing one day crawled up out of the ocean, or, like, a river. I don't know. The picture I'm picturing is literally one from a history book.
To start fucking walking.
Well, it was a lot of steps between them now. I know you know. But,
what?
The way that that one choice to just, like, I'm gonna exit the water.
Well, that was a free thinker right there. That one literally was in the water and was like, what are we doing? This is all we do. We just chill over here.
They were in the water, and they lifted up out of the water like JoJo Siwa in that music video.
Oh my God.
And they saw a berry. They were like, I want that berry.
See, yours is funnier. My brain went to the movie Luca. When he wants to go to the service so fucking bad, but everybody's like, don't do it, don't do it. And he's like, nah, I'm gonna do it.
That movie is so cute. Y'all should watch Luca if you haven't seen it.
That's one of my favorite, like, newer Disney Pixar movies.
It's so cute.
That came out.
It really is a cute little movie.
I just love that animation, too. And I love that it's in Italy. It just makes me think of the summertime, the pasta, the ocean. It makes me feel good every time.
And the cat and the dad.
The fucking cat.
The girl's dad. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, every character. Damn, I love that movie.
But yeah, that had me thinking about... Planet of the Apes had me thinking about morality and American politics and all of this, just this stuff. And honestly, Brittany Broski's podcast last night had me really in a spiral too. So Brittany Broski just went to, where'd she go? Paris. And she went to the catacombs and was talking about the catacombs and talking about morality, which had me thinking about morality because she was talking about how, like, the disrespectfulness of, like, burying bodies like that.
Yeah, okay.
And it had me thinking about, because I had just watched Planet of the Apes too, so I was like, what are we? Like, what do we even matter that much?
Yeah,
like, in
Megan
the grand scheme of things.
had brought that up to me with the thing, like, the bones being...
So the reason that they buried the bones like that is because the bodies they thought were making people sick, and they were stinky, and, like, the cemeteries were just being overrun, and also houses were starting to sink into the ground because they had already built these, like, mines. So they were like, double solution, we'll take the bodies. And the way they did it too, I forgot to even tell you this, I looked it up more after she talked about it, but the way they did it was they would do it at night so less people would see it, and they had they had incense and songs and, like, carried them in a shrouded, like, wagon to make it more respectful, and they had, like, a priest follow.
So they were doing some fancy stuff with it to just help
they were trying to make it more respectful.
Okay, yeah.
But then they just dumped them in these holes.
Very showy. That seems very showy. They're in the streets.
Yeah.
They're like...
They burnt them too, so that's why they're just bones.
Okay.
So get, like, the infected flesh off, because they were making people sick. It was, like, infecting the groundwater. It was getting bad. So, like, they had to be moved. There was no way to leave them.
Like, you had to get rid of that, yeah.
So they took them down there, and they thought, we'll just arrange them in a way that kind of does support the city. And, like, there's beautiful designs and stuff down there, the way they've arranged them. And Brittany Broski talks about all of this. But it had me thinking, like, is it disrespectful to do that? Or, like, what even is our bodies? Because, like, how much of us is our bodies?
Is the physical body itself.
Yeah.
Rather than what goes on in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I was like, are we our brain? Are we the electrical impulses in our brain?
Yeah.
Is there a soul? There's no way to really know that. I know that there's, like, evidence of when people die, like, their body loses so much weight or something because... But then that could be other things. And then, like, this stuff where when people pass away and they come back to life, or they say certain things happened, that makes me think. But then, like, what could be... Just going down a spiral now.
Yeah, but this is fascinating to talk about now.
What could be after that would be worth doing? You know what I mean? Because all the things I love about life have to do with the negative, too. So if everything's just perfect and you just know everything, what's the point?
Yeah.
That kind of freaks me out, because I don't even know what, like, if you ask me what heaven would look like to me, I don't have an answer for you, because I can't be... Joy doesn't hold the same weight without the sadness. And if you remove all the sadness, what is the point?
It's, like, mundane.
Yeah. So it's like, is it just like do you die and it's just a feeling of calmness? Are you just nothing? Like, I don't know, that freaks me out. And then with my body, if I am in it, I don't want them to, like, do anything to it, but there's nothing that can happen to your body that's good. You know, because you're going to decompose, you're going to get eaten by bugs, burnt if you get cremated, like...
Because it's no longer, like, living. It's no longer doing the thing that it was supposed to be doing. It is a vessel.
Yeah.
For you.
And even, like, mummification, if you're at all aware of what's happening, that would be horrific.
Me? Oh, fucking my.
Right. So, like, that freaks me out. So, I don't think the catacombs is a bad idea, you know? Throw me in. Coach. Yeah. Let me be pondered after for the rest of eternity. I wouldn't mind that. So, that freaked me out.
Yeah.
And then that also had me thinking of American politics, because there's so much shit going on.
There's
Trump just almost got shot.
Shit going on. That was wild.
Yeah, that was...
I just having an ordinary day, going out shopping with my mom and my sister. That was crazy.
That was great. That's one of those things where I'm always going to remember hearing about that.
Yep, where I was, who all talked about it, what happened. Yeah, everything.
I was coming back from the pool and my boyfriend got a text and we were driving and he was like, Trump just got shot. And I was like, because my immediate thought was he's dead. Yeah. That was my immediate thought. So I went on the internet and I was like, oh, he's alive. Yeah. It was just his ear. It was really like the attempt was serious. The injury he got
was minor.
So yeah. It's not even funny.
It is crazy how like just a minor, like just that much like of a difference that did make for you, like, sir. Like that is like you are.
He's being so like, dramatic with it too.
Yeah. I got holes in my ears too, buddy.
I know, that's what I said. Bro went to Claire's.
Yeah, dude. You got that gun too? I had that one too. They hit me double. He didn't get the double one. I got double shot.
Yeah, I got 2 of my earlobes.
Come at me.
But yeah, that would have been like how close we came to just everything changing so fast is crazy.
Yeah, so I was telling Megan that was such an eventful, huge fucking thing to happen. Not only in our, like, country, in the world, you know, that was such a big thing to almost happen. Like, it's already crazy that it was an attempt, you know? But the fact that he was so close, that I was saying that there's something is going to happen to balance, like there's...
Yeah, equal and opposite reaction.
Yes, that is so severe and big, something else is gonna happen, is what I was saying.
Lord knows what it could be.
I have no idea.
I saw, I was telling Hannah about this, and I can't find it now, but I saw on TikTok a graphic, and it showed Trump, like, the way that his head was moving during, like, because obviously this is all on video, it was being recorded, and it showed, like, they had remade his head as, like, a graphic, and it showed the trajectory of the bullet, and he, like, had moved his head right about the time that the bullet was fired, and if he hadn't done that, it would have gone right through his head, like, he would have died. And I was thinking, like, what we would do as a nation. And, like, I see people talking about, like, that they wish he had passed away, but I was thinking about it, and I was like, if he did die, they would have just put some other, like, just evil person in his place. So, like, I don't think that it would have done.
A little rushed at that as well.
Yeah.
So that it's already bad. Like, that's already a bad candidate. But, like, the rush of getting somebody together, like,
and the way it would have fired up that like the MAGA part of the Republican Party.
Yeah, it's like he would become a martyr. And that would have a different type of... They would have it's already wacky. The pictures I saw of people in solidarity putting the patches over their ears to be like
goofy,
him. God. I thought that's crazy that I actually... Like, there were multiple pictures. That's real. People are actually doing that. You don't know that? That's crazy. It's real.
It had me thinking, too, like... Oh my god, the amount of news alerts I got that was like, he's being looked at. I was like, I saw the video and could tell you immediately that motherfucker is fine.
Yeah, dude, oh my god. Like, you know, like, oh, jeez.
Oh my god. Yeah, the emotional strain,
you know, you get stung, like, real bad. Like, ooh, damn, that pissed me off. Like, you get stung by a wasp or something like that. Like,
yeah.
And
he advocates for violence so often. Like, did we forget how he acted about January 6th? Like, this is the little taste of, like, this is what he advocates for.
That was another thing that I meant with the martyrdom and stuff like that. Like, if he were to die, there are plenty of people who would just be so overtaken with emotion after that had happened that they would grab some guns and be crazy. No joke, they would. They'd be so pissed and they'd be taking some guns.
Yeah, it did have me kind of thinking, like, how
that is scary.
Like,
people
what the consequences of that would have been.
Aren't, like, fully thinking through big picture. They're not thinking big picture here.
I can't believe we lived through that.
I keep saying it as a joke, dude, but I'm rewatching Game of Thrones, and all I can think about is it good for the realm, dude? Are you doing that for the people?
Nobody's thinking about the realm.
That's what I'm saying.
Speaking of Trump, I was talking about last night, the Teamsters Union president got up in front of, like, the National Republican Convention. RNC.
Yeah.
He got up there and was talking about, like, workers and how we need to unionize and how people need health care. And, they showed him talking about that next to a video of Donald Trump while he was talking about that. I thought it was so funny. I also think it's funny that he's walking around with a patch over his ear, because I just know he does not need
I don't think it needs to be that big. I understand it's an injury that's still healing, but I will say that's a bit much.
Yeah.
That's a bit much.
So anyway, that whole situation, I've been mooning these about so much shit right now.
There's no way that they're not playing that up either. Like, they're playing that up big time, too.
The ear thing?
Yes.
Oh, he's gonna milk the shit out of this. And everyone was thinking, too, because after, who was it? Reagan? After Reagan got shot, his numbers went up and people, like, cared more.
Yeah, it's
We're in a different era, buddy. It is not the same as it was then. Like, politics is so... It's such a, like, a hot red button. Like, and no one's happy with each other. There's no, like, we barely have common ground. It's a mess.
Like, we've been for years now. Like... so close to breaking. like just not.
It's bad.
Red hot button is
like
right.
if you look at the the debates between like Biden and who was it? Not Mitch McConnell. What was that man's name?
Oh my.
The one that was a war vet.
Couldn't help you,
and
man.
he just John McCain. John McCain.
Oh,
the M's threw me off. Yeah, the way that they were so respectful towards each other and they had common footing. Like they weren't. They had different ways of dealing with things, but things have gotten so dragged to the right.
Yeah.
Like, there used to be an agreement on social issues.
The type of topics, like the way that you, like, what you know about the topic itself, too. You did your research. It's
painful, the way that it is now. Like, the fact that in the last debate, we're just yapping now, but the fact that in the last debate they were talking about golf.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes, and this is crazy, because, like, this is for... the good of the realm. This is our fucking country. This is our government. They speak for us. We pick a leader for us. It's not for them. So the fact that I feel like I'm in middle school having to deal with like I'm in class. I had to go. And I feel like I'm experiencing, like, we all in the class had to go up and discuss and be up there and chit chat. And I feel like that's what I watch. Like, that's what I see. That's what's going on.
Children.
We're all kids. And I'm just watching it get butchered every time. Like, every time.
Yeah, I feel like neither.
And they don't even have a teacher.
I feel like is working for the good of the realm.
No.
Like, there's Trump is awful and evil, and I hate him.
Like, it's the good of, like, the money that's backing them first and foremost.
Yes.
Then it's like, what can I do to get my number? So they're gonna appeal to some of the people and, like, pass certain things that are gonna get people to like you. But
well, I feel like Biden gets up there and tries to get one-liners in because he thinks that that's going to help. And I know someone sat him down and was like, to get Gen Z, you need to be funny, which is true.
Yes,
but also, like, we're not stupid.
That's another thing. It's like, you forget that we are also, you know, like, every individual thinks, you know? So, like, you can't... This is, like, our lives you're dealing with, so you can't just make us fucking laugh. You also need to tell me
we're all
that you're going to help me. That you're going to take care of me. Biden's stance on
the Palestine issue is insane and
that's
awful.
Wild. That one is wild,
and he's the better option.
God,
and he's still...
I hate it.
That's still evil.
I hate it.
It's so bad.
This is a rough fucking time.
And the left side of the political realm is so split because there's, like, progressives and then there's Democrats. There's like different ideologies on what we can do to make it better because, like, for me as someone who's extremely progressive, I really do not want to vote for Joe Biden because I'm like, his stance on Palestine is trash. He's so moderate on every issue that I care about. He just doesn't. And, like, I don't know what he's even doing. Like, I'm so confused.
He knows what he's
doing.
There's
nothing going on with healthcare. He tried to get, like, debt forgiveness, and, like, that just couldn't get through, I guess.
Just was
didn't seem to me like that he really cared that much about it.
Well, it seems like we're not, like, it's like, they're little tiny fights, and I couldn't even call them fights. He's, like, doing just a little bit and then stopping. Doing just a little bit and then stops. There's no spine. There's no conviction. There's no, like, nothing.
And I did not forget about the Anita Hill thing with him. I did not forget. I know you're a lot older now and you've come back on it, but did you come back on it, or is it because you need a younger base to care about you? Also, you're too old. Jesus Christ. Both of you, too old.
If there is, like, you have to be this age to even do this, then there should be a cutoff. I don't know why we haven't cut it off earlier. You know what I mean?
Right.
Make it earlier. That's insane.
I'm assuming that also, whenever all this was going on...
Oh my God.
Right. They were thinking nobody would run. They probably didn't think they needed to put an age cap.
It's like, look, I get it. You're like, that's so sure. You don't know how crazy people get. Like, the older, like...
It made me
We may
look
be getting
into
smarter in our years, like, just as people, but then, like, we also get crazier. I don't know how else to...
More radical.
It is what it is.
And I'm okay with the radical left in a lot of ways. Some of the stuff I feel like is going too far. in certain, like, I won't get into that, but the radical right, oh my God, please
scary. That's
save
a scary
us.
place.
And I feel like they're dragging the entire realm to the right. Like, like the Democrats
really
are getting
hard.
more spineless because they have to try to satiate that base to get votes.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Which I understand, like, politics is so complicated, but at the same time, it's like, you guys are, everybody's selling their morality in this process. Like, you're selling your soul.
And when you start off of that, like, what is
and
that?
more people are going to agree with you if you take a radical leftist stance than you think, I would think. Especially with, like, healthcare, student loan forgiveness.
Because we need
that kind of stuff.
Severe, like we need the answers now. Like,
well, people need help.
Yes, like, right now. Have been.
And I was talking about this, too, with the left. Me and Hannah were talking about this at work, where I said that, like, people in, like, the South that a lot of the times are leaning right would honestly benefit more from leaning left, but I think they feel like the left makes them feel stupid.
Yeah, and you know what? There are, like, a lot of left people who...
Yeah, they just look
eat that
down.
Up, too. Yeah, they're like, oh, you know, like a little simple person in their brain. Like, they're like, oh, they don't even understand it. And it's like...
When there's, like, the perspective of, like, religion is a lot of the times involved, and, like, that is a very...
And that's a deep-rooted thing in the South.
Yeah, and they...
Like, so much so.
If you're scared for your eternal soul, that's something to be spoken for.
Yeah,
whether you believe in it or not, they do believe it.
Yeah, like, with whole everything, whole self, they believe in that. So, yeah, you have to approach it differently.
There's that part. There's the fact that, like, access to education is different in the South.
Yeah.
It's really hard to, like... do anything. There's a lot of blue-collar workers there who feel like they're not cared about because there is an elitism to, like, an education. You know what I mean? So, like, on the left, they're like, they're uneducated. It's not even worth trying to talk to them. Yeah. What are we talking about? Like, that's the people you need to be helping.
Yes.
And it's not like they need help because they are hard workers. They care a lot.
Need help and, like, it's because you should always want to, like, you always should continue learning. You should always want to have your mind being, like,
stimulated,
exercised, and, constantly learning stuff and doing things and figuring things out. Like,
And that's another thing, too. A lot of blue-collar workers or people that do those kind of jobs don't have the time. They go to work.
Because they're
working so hard. They come home tired. They have a family. When do they have time to sit down and be like, let me look into what the
and
gay
also,
people
like,
are going
let me
through?
focus
That's
on
not
what
a priority
I
for them.
need to, like, do. Yeah. When if they have a family, more often than not, they're probably thinking about, how am I going to provide for my kids right now?
Food on the table. And
what do I need to do to get that taken care of?
And then they've been told that Republicans are who's going to help you, and that's who panders to them.
Yeah.
So they're like, that's who I'm going to vote for. And I completely understand that.
Like, that'll get it done.
So, like, the left side of American government just needs to, like, figure it out with being more kind and empathetic towards people that think differently than them and getting their point across to those people in a way that's going to be helpful to them without making them feel stupid.
Yeah. I don't want to make people feel stupid.
Because they're not stupid.
Because also the people that are explaining things to you don't know everything.
That too. Yeah.
They don't. We're all still learning. We're all still doing the same thing, man.
So that's just a mess. It had me think, like, death had me thinking about that too, where it's like, how, like, our lives are short. We should all be working towards making everything
for the good
better,
of the realm.
For the good of the realm.
That's what I'm saying. Why do you? Because your life is shitty in this specific moment. Because you're not having a good fucking time this year. Like, why do you get to be shitty to these? Like, I don't get it, man. Some people are literally, like, wanting to kill themselves because
of all this shit.
Because what's going on? Like, people are.
It does feel dismal and hopeless.
Yeah.
I'm trying really hard not to believe that. And it's made me turn to history to, like, see how that shit went.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been watching a documentary on Lincoln.
Yeah, on HBO.
Yeah, it's called Divided We Stand, which I think is because of the Civil War. I'm so sorry, I keep looking over here. Belly is playing with everything.
Can hear that, yeah. I think she wants attention. I think she's, like, kind of being loud about it. Oh my god, guys. Oh my god.
She just jumped like a foot straight up in the air.
That was the highest jump I've ever seen a cat do. My cats don't jump like that. My cats don't do that. She was playing with her little spring. That was so cute.
Oh, I love Belly so much.
I wonder.
Belly is literally the light of my life.
I wonder if she
I would
knocked the camera
never ever kill myself because I
because
cannot
Belly Beans is
leave
there.
Belly Beans or Hannah.
Thank you.
Or Harrison or Emily or my mom or any of those people. Love all of you. Anyway.
Well, now I got to. Oh, am I going to leave anybody out? Oh my god, maybe I should say everybody's name. That's why I didn't say anything. Yeah.
Anyway, Lincoln. So obviously, He got killed. So I was looking into how he even got into office, because that's crazy. Like, I have always
he was
thought
so not liked, and everything that he did. Yeah,
he was so ahead of what was going on at the time. Like, he was very racist. I always assumed the Emancipation Proclamation.
Being taught, and you're like, oh, slavery done. Oh, no more racism. Oh, like everything was just knocked off the list.
I also thought Lincoln was going to be like, this is wrong.
I knew you were going to say that.
Black people should not be like this. And like, I thought that was his mindset, and it wasn't.
Like he was like, these are people, these are human beings. What are we doing, guys?
Yeah, which he did. He kind of felt that way. Like, I'll get into that in a second. But the way he got elected was he only got 39% of the popular vote. What had happened was the other side had split into 3 different candidates, because they were having such different ideas, and it reminded me of the current political system where nobody can agree on the left. It just happens to be the other side. But they were so split between candidates that they didn't back a single one.
That's
and
scary.
That's how Lincoln got into office. And he was a really interesting guy. Like, he packed his cabinet with people that opposed his views in a lot of ways, which I think is why he was a good president.
He was wanting the back and forth. He was wanting to get to the bottom of it and try to figure out what was actually the best for the realm.
For the realm. But he believed in himself, like his own ideas, so much that he knew he could hear those other ideas and think about them and figure out how he felt without just being like swayed in a certain way. So he was a really good president in that sense. But
wanted to hear both sides of a story, mayhaps.
Yeah. But him getting elected is what obviously started the Civil War. Part of it was that he didn't want the spread of slavery. So he was okay with slavery in the states where it already existed. But the United States was obviously growing. We were getting new states.
Bigger, taking more
right
land.
Before or during his presidency. I don't really remember the time. It was when we got like Texas and a lot of those like southern states. And he said he did not want slavery. He was fine with slavery where it was, but he didn't want it to spread. And he thought it would just over time get rid of itself. He thought people would realize it was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think too many people benefited. So
they said that the slaves today created about $100 billion in revenue.
So there you go. Literally what I said. That's wild. Yeah. They. Oh my God, this is crazy. It makes me think of Game of Thrones again. So Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones is kind of a political drama.
There's a reason why it did go so, it did go over so well with people. There's so much going on and so much to think about and discuss with our own world. Like, it was just an easier way to do it because these people don't really exist.
Yeah.
But anyways, Daenerys is over in Marine, and she is like dealing with Slaver's Bay and dealing with all of that. And like Tyrion finally joins up with her, and he gives them a deal, the Masters, of like, I'll give you 7 years to finish it out type thing. And I was like, I understand what he's doing, but it's just like, that's just not gonna work. You benefit from something too much. Like, they're gonna get power hungry again and want to just take you over, which is what happened. They came in with ships and like throwing like fucking balls of fire at the city and like trying to take it over. And then Daenerys finally came back with a dragon. Thing. That's what I'm saying. It just doesn't. It's not. That's cute of him to be like, oh, eventually he'll just go out and die out.
It made me think of modern society too, because we make the same argument for stuff. Like, obviously nothing like slavery is going on now.
Yeah.
But it's the same argument with why we can't raise the minimum wage, why we can't do certain things. You got to do it. Like, for ethics, like, if we have fucked our like economy so bad that like we have to be doing terrible things to keep it running, something's got to change, man. And it turned out like this happened a long time ago, but like they did free the slaves, and like we did recover from, like, the economy did kind of recover. Like, we've messed it up in different ways now. And we're still like, it wasn't worth it to begin with. Like, it just needed to happen. But the only reason he freed the slaves in the first place, so his belief system was that Black people should not be slaves, that was wrong, but that white people were still the supreme race, and that Black people should colonize in South America or Africa. They should leave.
Just
he didn't want them to live here.
Yeah. He was racist in like a different way.
Yeah, so like he was like,
he had a different flavor.
Yeah. So he was like good on slavery.
You can't even but like
But that's what got him into office, too, is that he was moderate on the issue. Like, he was, like, anti-slavery, but he was moderate on the issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
This moderate fucking shit over here, man. People are just too damn scared.
Yeah.
Just do it.
He wrote the Emancipation Proclamation. Jesus. That is hard to say.
Two big words. Really two big words.
He wrote it only freeing the slaves in the South so they could join the Union and fight, but then it was, like, supposed to go back to how it was before.
What?
Yeah. Which part of the way through it, he was like, we can't make them do that.
Yeah, dude. What the what?
But they were put in the shittiest places. Like, and when I say shittiest places, I don't mean, like, war-wise. I mean, like, they were put in the shittiest places, like, bug and dirt-wise. Because they still believed that Black people didn't feel pain the same way.
And just not, like, human.
Yeah.
Period.
And they were like they don't care about the bugs. They're not feeling things the same way.
That's not human. Which is
awful.
crazy.
And Frederick Douglass went and talked to him. And this is one of the cool things about Lincoln. Like, he was shitty in those ways. But, like, Frederick Douglass came and he made room for him immediately. So, like, that was a cool thing. Is because he opposed Lincoln in a lot of ways. But Lincoln made the space and, like, let him cut line to talk to him.
He had all these people who would
disagree with him.
So it's like, obviously.
Yeah.
That went over well if he's coming in and being like...
He pissed off all these white people by letting Frederick Douglass come in and talk to him about this issue. And he told Frederick Douglass, he was like, I do want to give them the same stuff as everyone else, but I'm scared that the Union soldiers won't fight anymore if I give them equal, footing. Yeah. And he said, so I'm going to, put in a plan where that's going to happen, but it can't happen right away. So that made me think of now, too, where it's like so much of what we do is driven by money, is driven by these beliefs and, like, having to be moderate to get certain things done.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't have an answer, but it's interesting to, like, look at history and see how shit just keeps happening in different ways.
Yeah.
Not that, like, I don't ever want to compare anything that's going on to slavery because that was such a horrible, horrible thing.
Yeah, I don't.
But if you look at, like, their reasoning for why they did the shit that they did, it's the same.
Dude, it's just like...
We're just pandering.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well.
Yeah, it's sickening.
I do want to watch that documentary.
Yeah, it's on
like
HBO.
A series. Yeah, Megan said it's, like, multiple episodes, so...
And Lincoln was a super interesting dude. Like, I haven't finished it yet, but y'all should look into that. And I do think it's really relevant to what's going on now. And everything is. It's making me feel better to see that, like, how awful things got and, like, there was progress. And, like, right now I think we're on a little bit of a backslide. I'm so excited for the progress that we're going to have. And also trying to gain some perspective on how to feel not just hopeless all the time.
Yeah.
In our day-to-day, because it just hurts so bad to think about all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to find some good energy where I can get it. Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Controlling the things that I can control.
Yeah. On my day-to-day, it's like little acts of kindness and grace is going to get you far.
Yeah.
You know, like...
It really does.
And every, like, presidential race in the past, like, I've been really involved in this stuff since, like, 2016, before I could even vote. God, and whenever Trump and Hillary ran in 2016, I was days away from being able to vote, by the way.
Aww.
Days away. Like, my birthday is November 14th, so I turned 18 that year, right after the election.
I would have been pissed.
Yeah. So, but I was also kind of glad I didn't get to vote in that, because I was like, I don't want to vote for, like, it would have been cool to vote for a woman, but I didn't love Hillary. I haven't loved any of my options.
Love, no.
Yeah.
Love
I like Bernie.
Someone in my, like, no. Love, no.
I wouldn't say love. Well, you shouldn't love politicians. Like, because they're a public servant.
You're not supposed to praise them, and it's their fucking job to take care of you.
They're a public servant. Yeah.
A servant.
The way we are with public servants is so weird.
Them, it's so ass backwards. That makes sense.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what we're gonna do, because, like, I do wonder if they're gonna replace Biden. This got really political really fast, so is life, man. But there's no way to avoid it. It's gonna get
with what's going on right now. It's kind of hard not to. Everything is quite interesting right now, and there's no like blueprint for this. No one has planned for something like this, dude. It's wild, absolutely wild.
Yeah, we're at the point where, like, Trump just almost died. Biden might be replaced. We almost just had a whole new race on our hands. This world
is crazy, man.
And I will say this about, like, currently, I do feel weird about people being like, we cannot be critical of Biden right now because it's so imperative that we get Trump out, and it's like we cannot always be playing
critical.
defense.
That's what exactly. Oh, look at that!
Two
not
for
disturb
two.
again.
I even thought about it while I was in the bathroom upstairs.
I said I was going to remind you to put your laptop on Do Not Disturb. I forgot.
Yeah, so that's between both of us, isn't it?
Got both of us. Damn.
But yeah, I do think we should be in constant criticism of people that have the amount of power that the President of the United States does. And if we're really going to talk about that kind of stuff, the president does not matter that much with SCOTUS having the power that it does. Something's got to be done about the Supreme Court. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Don't do that to me. Don't do that. I can't. How long is this episode?
Right now, we're sitting at 50. We got time.
What? You think we could just knock that out in 10, 15 minutes? No fucking way.
There's anything to say about it. The people majority of the people sitting on the Supreme Court are evil individuals. They're awful. They do not have the interest of the people in mind at all. Something needs to be done.
It's very, like, personal for, like, whatever works for them and their people, whoever's backing it. Their ears are not open to anybody else with other, like, it's so sad. It's so sad. It's sad.
It really is. And I've been really trying hard to think about, like, me and Hannah talked about this at work, and I went into a spiral of it's just so dismal, and I'm not going to do that on the podcast.
No, I'm not going to do that. I just wish people would be kinder.
Yeah, like, what would help bridge this gap? Because we've gotten so divided, and at the end of the day, everyone just thinks that they're helping for the most, like, I'm not going to say that there's not people that are just evil, but everyone just thinks that they're helping themselves. They want everyone to just be kind of happy, and, like, the way that we're going about it is just different. But I feel like we've lost the plot and how to talk to each other in a way that's respectful. And of course, there's times where, like, if someone's being racist, homophobic, that type of stuff, they've lost their right to respect.
Yes.
But if they're curious, if they're trying to understand,
they're trying to learn,
having an open conversation, they're not just shitting on you. You should have that conversation if you have the capacity to do it, because at the end of the day, we all just want
connection,
to be happy and to be connected.
Yeah. And community.
And a sense of community,
day, a lot of this crazy radical way people are feeling about certain people in office that should be, public servants, but, like, I think it's because they found this really weird sense of community, man. They found this really weird, crazy-ass group of people that are all like, this man is fucking awesome, and, like, it's like you get
united under Trump.
Like, if I could describe it, if you think about something that excites you, I'll try and, appeal to different types of audiences. But if you were to think about how you are at a concert, like how you feel when you're with all of those people, that feeling feels amazing. When you're at a sporting event, no matter what, and everybody is just feeling that same type of energy with you, like, it feels so damn good.
It does.
I think
MAGA people are actually just directioners at heart.
If they had a band, that's what I'm saying. I think they feel so good when they're together, and they feel damn good about their country, and they
the patriotism, they get so roped up. They're like, we're Americans,
like, Americans do things right. We're so past that, though.
Yeah.
We're so past everybody.
There's a danger to getting fanfare involved in public servitude.
Oh my God,
where they're supposed to help you. Like, you should not be just blindly loving a politician.
What is that video?
No matter what side of the aisle it is on, that should not be happening.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Because they're supposed to, they have a job they're doing. They're not supposed to be up there riling you up. That's not what's supposed to happen. Like, at the end of the day, if we had community, this would not happen. We've become so individualistic under capitalism that it's just like, oh my God, I sound like such a hippie, and I kind of am.
I know. To sum it up, if I were to discuss this with some people, like, you could define us as, like, but, like, there's a reason that people keep coming out like that. You keep finding these hippies.
Yeah.
But it's because they, like, you found, like, that meaning in life, and, like, what everybody needs in life, and, everybody wants love and community and affection, and just to be
accepted.
Thought of, and taken care of. Every single person just wants that.
And we need to remember that because it's about to get so ugly. Oh my! This is going to be, I think, the worst election year that I've seen in my lifetime because it's going to be Biden's a mess, Trump's a mess. People are being assassination attempts are happening. People are asking Biden to step down.
It does feel weird that it is 2024, and we're having some like crazy like plot line like Game of Thrones going on in our life. That's what Game of Thrones has been really getting me through, man. Rewatching it has been so fun.
Yeah. And you got to set up boundaries, man, with some of this stuff because it's just going to be so upsetting.
So you're gonna have to draw some lines with really close people. It could be super close friends that aren't and it could be family members. It's just not. It's not good. It's not good.
That's another thing with it too for me is like I have family members who disagree with me on a lot of issues that I care deeply about. And that resonates with me because I'm like, I'm a queer person, I'm a woman, and then I have people around me that are voting for Trump because of issues that I don't care about, like guns. Like I do care about guns in some sense, but like that kind of stuff, or like just like the economy, they disagree with me on the economy, and it's like, but you voting for this person hurts me personally so much.
Yeah, like, and it is personal. You are hurting me personally.
Trump's picks for who went on the Supreme Court directly affected queer rights, women's rights. I shouldn't say people with uteruses rights. Roe versus Wade being overturned was horrific, and it's hurting people who are trying to get pregnant on purpose.
Yeah, it's.
And I know that people who I care about, who I know care about me, are not thinking about that type of shit. And, like, they're not actually thinking about how much it hurts me.
They're not, like, seeing it in the way that, like...
Yeah, they're like, well, I care about this issue, and this is my right to do this. Yeah. And it's like, you need to, like... We've intentionally, I feel like, made it hard to be a really informed voter. And Fox News and, like, those type of news outlets make it really difficult to overlook all of the stuff that, like, they're not... They go in, they scare people, and they fire them up.
They say really big comments, attention-grabbing thing, and be like, oh, shock value, fear-mongering.
And look away from this issue that matters.
Yeah, that's actually important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do I...
And you know what? Queer people are scary to people who don't know much about queer culture.
Yeah.
So, like, when you finally realize, like, who you are, even come out to yourself or whatever, you are on a learning curve. It's like you were having to teach yourself certain things and like what to know, like the way we had our podcast do, like for the month of June, like we did some research. So it's like, and like you are learning about yourself and all these things, so you're looking up things because you want to learn it, but some people just don't have that.
They don't have the time. They don't know what to look up.
Yeah, and it is a lot.
That kind of stuff.
It is a lot. Like, the older I've gotten, like, I figured new things out and how I want to identify and how I want to, like, see myself. But it's not like I knew it when I started. Like, it's a slow process. So
it took me a long time to even realize I was queer because I still was very interested in men. So I was like, that just is what I am.
It is what it is, yeah.
Yep. And then, like, looking into it, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
and there's a lot to it.
There's so much to it. Yeah.
And why would, somebody who is so sure they're straight even look into it?
That's exactly what I'm saying, is that it's just easier, like...
to ignore it.
Yeah. Because it does take a lot of energy, a lot of effort, and a lot of motivation to do the research and to look into things like that.
And a lot of people are so focused on their own issues that they don't. And everybody does have issues right now.
Everybody does have
it is hard to be a person. Like, it's hard to be a person. Everybody has problems.
It's hard to be a person, period.
Yeah.
It is.
It's also such a beautiful thing, though, isn't it? Like,
it really is.
To put a positive spin on it, like, the stuff that happened with Lincoln, the stuff that happened in the Civil War is still affecting us, but, like, it's gotten better, hasn't it? Like, slavery did end.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at...
We've had a black president, not that like, solves it at all.
But but that was pretty fascinating.
That's a serious, I would say, like, step up from the fact that slavery was not that long ago.
Yeah.
So that is progress. And I think there'll be progress from here, too. It's just going to be a tumultuous journey.
It's slow, guys. It's so slow. We're, like, moving the pieces so slow.
And that's how it works.
Yeah, man.
And I wish
I'm
it
just
wasn't.
doing my little part that I can in the time that I have on this earth to help move that piece as much as I can.
Yeah. And you know what? You know what we should all be focusing on? Legalizing marijuana.
Please, what the hell, guys?
Giving people rights to their bodies is a big one. Yeah. Decriminalizing drugs, like, just, building community.
Should have worn my shirt today.
Nobody should be in jail for a weed shirt.
Yeah, dude.
So true.
Ridiculous. What are we doing? Oh, I hear pots and pans moving upstairs. I best be having some din-din soon.
Did y'all hear my tummy? Did you even get a quote?
No. You guys are going to have to watch me, scour my phone.
Right, what can I yap about in the meantime? Oh my God. In the meantime, somebody on the Spotify commented a question. I didn't see it till late.
This is fun.
But
Good
Sponge,
job.
This one's for you. They said, who would win in a fight? 1 billion lions or all of the Pokemon? So we had to do some research for this.
Let me have my little thing so I can get this quote really quick. But this was fun because if you ask us a question like this, we're going to be like, well...
We're really going to think
about that. And I'm going to think about it super hard and actually give you a very well thought out answer. So that tell them everything we did.
Right. We looked up how many Pokemon are there. The answer in 2024 is 1,205 different types of Pokemon. Now Hannah said that they watched the show a little bit. I played the game a lot on my DS. Pokemon Pearl Edition. I always picked the penguin looking guy. I don't know the names of the Pokemons, but I also looked up, what are the most powerful Pokemon powers, and the number one thing that came up was there's a Pokemon that can pause time and put things to sleep, and they have powers of, fire and that kind of stuff, whereas lions are just lions, but lions are also super scary, and there's 1 billion of them, so that's, a shit ton of lions. I feel like there's not even 1 billion lions in the world, so,
You know what?
they
don't do that to me, because I was like, oh.
I feel like even at their peak, there might not have been 1 billion.
Megan?
That I don't know shit about.
I don't know about that. I cannot.
You think so? We'll look that up. We'll look that up after. I can't multitask in that type of way.
I would love a documentary to show me how
the population of lions.
How the animals have changed from.
I did see a TikTok that showed bears
to now. Oh,
it showed how many bears there are.
How sad was that?
America, a lot of bears. Russia, the most bears. There you go. And it was showing them in picture form. Love the bears. Anyway, the Pokemon. My vote, I'm saying the Pokemon are winning. Because of that, they can pause time and put things to sleep. Because why would they not? And, I don't know how many they can do at once because they're not real. But if they can do it in, mass, I would think that they would be able to take them out really easy. Because one just pauses time, they go around, put them all to sleep, and then they just burn them to a crisp. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when we looked this up, Megan, there were multiple... I'm just, going crazy with my cords today. They had multiple... just in the first 3 that we read, had these abilities that were
amazing.
Yeah,
so the pause time
for a fucking lion, just an everyday regular lion, just add 1 billion with that. It's just
that's a shitload of lions.
Yeah,
but they can't fight
time.
if you frozen time.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, pause. Got them all.
Yeah. And it's also how does that work? How long does time pause for?
What's
and then can you do other stuff during it?
You know, when you have a power up, but it lasts a certain time. Is it like that with those Pokemon?
I don't know.
Right.
So, I don't know if it would work like the game, because I didn't watch the show, really, so I don't know
when
how
I say
it works
watch the show, I was super, super young. So I barely remember anything.
And then if you add another layer to it, why are they fighting? You know what I mean? Why are we killing all the lions? Can they tame the lions? Or not even tame them, but
they
just
live.
Give them somewhere. But 1 billion lions would really affect an ecosystem, I would say.
But they're also Pokemon. I think they're doing different things than humans.
True, but... So if they have to fight, which I wish they didn't, I think the Pokemon would win, but 1 billion lions is a lot of lions.
We did. Every time when we looked at the number, that's 1 billion lions. So we looked at how many Pokemon, we still were because 1 billion is a big fucking number, but we still lean towards Pokemon. We really do.
So that was a very thought-provoking question.
Yeah,
well done,
going.
Sponge.
Yeah, thank you,
Sponge. Also, we did look at your playlist.
We did, yeah.
And we did listen to Life is a Highway because of it. So, and that's what inspired our little intro. So thank you, Sponge.
Thank you, Sponge, whoever you are.
Anyway, did you find a quote?
I did, and I thought it would be quite...
A good one?
Sweet.
All right, so I clearly have no idea what this quote is.
Because I didn't know what it was until 2 minutes ago.
What we got? Hit me with it.
Harrison Hawkins.
Okay. That's my lovely boyfriend.
Where was it? March 4th, 2022. I'm that bitch.
That's
how we're going to end that.
Because if you know Harrison, that is something he might say, but it's like a rare one.
I know.
And when he says it's going to be funny.
Like, I got to write that down. Because I want to actually make sure that it's written down that Harrison, in fact, did say those words.
Oh my God. We got to use, at some point, that one that he said at UPS.
Oh, I know. I've been saving it. I've been saving it. Because it's such a good one, and I wanted to do it with, like, the episode. I wanted it to blend with the topic.
All right.
Yeah. And I don't think that would go with it.
Not this one, no. But we are that bitch. Harrison is that bitch. We are all that bitch.
And it feels good to be that bitch.
It does. It does feel good. Whenever people call me a bitch, I take that as a compliment. For the most part. Depending on who it is, but most of the time, compliment. Actually, even... Yeah, it's always kind of a compliment. Because if you're saying it to me in a mean way, I probably piss you off.
I piss you off so much, and that's the best thing you could call me.
I probably was
that's the best thing that they could think of. Oh, you bitch! Yeah. That's what you got in your arsenal. Damn, cobwebs.
Yeah.
All right.
Dust off some new ones. Be a little more clever. Be a little more creative.
We're so over that. Like, move on.
Wednesdays, y'all. The playlist,
every Wednesday,
please.
If anybody looks at the playlist,
at Mooney Musing on Instagram. I've been trying to get on that. Also, the TikTok. Been trying to get on that as well.
It's really hard. TikTok is hard.
TikTok is hard. That's a lot of effort.
It's fun scrolling. It really is fun scrolling. But the other side of it is
people who make edits.
Hard.
I respect you.
I love you.
That's so much effort. Well done. See y'all next Wednesday.